the most prominent schools of thought at the moment are four: the Hanafi school, the Maliki school, the Shafi'i school, and the Hanbali school. But people have divided into two groups, or three, who's counting? The first group idolizes these schools of thought. So they think and believe whatever the Imam had said, then this is close to revelation. We have to blindly follow it and believe in it. The second group were those who totally neglected their work of the schools of thought, discredited it, looked down upon them, and maybe even insulted them, saying that they are men and we are men as well. And this is an exaggeration or an understatement. So they totally neglected the work of the great scholars of Islam. Now, the middle path is the path of our scholars, our A'immah, our Ulama, which is that we highly look up to these great Imams while not blindly following them, rather appreciating their work, appreciating their lifetime achievements and what they have given to the Ummah. But at the same time, due to the fact that they are not all in agreement, in this case we have to implement what Allah has told us in the Quran, and that is, whenever you have a dispute over something, refer it back to Allah and to the Messenger ﷺ, meaning to the Quran and to the Sunnah. So we believe highly in Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. But when one of them goes a little bit offline, or when they dispute, we have to cross-examine their evidences so that we can come to a conclusion. For example, Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, may Allah have mercy on his soul, says that touching a woman, whether she's your mother or your wife or a total stranger, nullifies your wudu. The other three great Imams of the schools of thought say this is not true. It does not impact your wudu, with difference of opinion whether if it is done with desire and lust or not. But there is a difference of opinion among scholars. Imam Shafi'i says, regardless, it nullifies your wudu. So, where did you get this from? He said, I found that in chapter 4, Surah An-Nisa. Allah says, أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ, in the ayah of tayammum in Surah An-Nisa. The ayah of wudu and tayammum. So he says that this is clear, that touching the women is something that nullifies wudu. And it's also found in Surah Al-Ma'idah as well, in the very beginning. The other scholars said, no, the understanding of the ayah was wrong. لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاء means to have intercourse, not to touch. So it breaks your wudu, and you have to have ghusl. And if you don't have water, you have to perform tayammum. This is something that tayammum is made for if you lack water. That is, if you are in the sexual ritual impurity, the major ritual impurity. So now he understood the ayah differently from the others. So who to follow? Are we supposed to follow the earliest one of the Imams, who is Abu Hanifa, because he's closer to the Tabi'een? Or should we follow Imam Ahmad, who is the latest of the four Imams, who had the ability to look into different schools of thought and different opinions? Well, the most authentic way of doing it is to refer it back to the Quran and Sunnah. And we will find in the Sunnah that Mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, told her nephew Urwa ibn Zubayr that the Prophet ﷺ may have kissed one of his wives and then went for prayer without renewing his wudu. And Urwa said, I bet that this wife was you, Mother Aisha, and she laughed or smiled. This hadith clearly states that kissing your spouse, not just touching, does not impact your wudu. And this is the most authentic opinion among scholars.